and I'm going to go ahead and run through some of these examples with you guys again. So what I've done here, this is a sample portfolio, and this is a portfolio that I would share with potential hires. And let's say that the first time that I contact them, it's just an informal email. I haven't met them yet, and they just ask if I can send them a portfolio for them to look over. Okay, so this is the first scenario with that portfolio. What I would do in that case, so actually, why don't you guys tell me? So looking on the board, what do you think my best export option is? Good, yep, a portfolio spread, so that way when they open it, they can see it as it's supposed to be seen with these pages side by side. So what I mean by that is when I go to Control E or Command E, right now this is set up as an Adobe PDF print, so I haven't changed anything yet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder here. And in this one, I will call this portfolio spread. When you go to your export options, this is where I'll wait for you. I'm going to keep my cursor. Do you see how in the pages menu, it says pages all? And then right underneath that, it asks you export as pages or spreads. Control E will get you there, or you can go up to File, Export.
Oh, is it after you push save?
Yep, it's after you press save.
Oh, okay.
Everybody find that okay? All right, the other thing that I want you guys to check just while we're here is under compression, just make sure that your images are all set to maximum under quality. So there's just two places. So color images, maximum, image quality, maximum. There was a period of about 6 months where there was an Adobe update where it was automatically setting down to low, not minimum, but low. So everybody's images was coming out totally pixelated. And I was like, what is going on? And I didn't realize that one of the updates had changed that. So I always set it to maximum, which just means that depending on the image you have in your document, you're going to get the best quality possible for it. This is right under, so where we were was general. Right below it is the compression. So Allison, I'm under general, and so you have to save it first. Let me back out of here. So Control E. First it wants to know where you're going to save it, and then after you hit save, this menu will pop up. Okay. So the first thing I pointed out was that this time, under pages, we're going to do spreads. So export as spreads, so those will be the side-by-sides. And then under compression, just a quick check to make sure it's maximum. Typically, once you change it once, it'll always save that setting in the future. And I wanted to point it out, you know, I don't even know how this happens, but you press one thing or your kids or your cat, whatever, messes around on your keyboard and changes a setting. So in case you start getting PDF documents where the images look pixelated when you know they're high quality, check here, okay? And now, when I click on export, I'm gonna open up a preview of that. Let me show you what it looks like. So here, there's my first page. And then when I scroll down to my second page, do you see how this is page 2 out of 5? So page 2 out of 5 has page 2 and 3 side by side. I prefer sending people spreads to see the side by side. There is a way where you can export it and let me show you this other little. So let's say that you ever get something from someone. Actually, let me show you in the next example. I'll show you how to kind of fix it, but why it doesn't really work. Because I used to try and do this with people. But in a nutshell, if you want to share a 2-page layout with somebody, the best way to do it is to send it as a spread. Okay, let's keep going. So now, let's say that, you know, the email went well, we talked on the phone, and they want me to come in for an interview, but this time they want me to physically bring in a portfolio, right? So now if I were to print it, and let's say this time I am printing it at Kinko's, this time I'm saving it as portfolio spread print. Is there even a Kinko's anymore, or are they just called FedEx copy now? Okay, well, I'm dating myself. I'm like John's grandma that always talked about, like, I don't even know, the Skags or something. I don't know, things that didn't exist anymore. So now, since I've saved it as spreads previously, do you see how it wants to do it as spreads again? Okay, so it remembered last time it was spreads. This time I'm changing it to pages. Now when I hit export, here is portfolio spread print. Here's page 1 through 9. So you can see right here, I have 9 pages again, and they're all individual pages that I can specify to FedEx copy that I want them to be a double-sided print.
They would just know to automatically do that in order?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's already, it'll, the pagination will work out automatically. So that's why you don't want to send any printer your spread layout, because even though it looks right on your screen, do you see what would happen with the double-sided copy here? They just squish them all together. So the spread is good for looking at it on a screen if you want to send it an email, but the pages is what you'd want to export for printing. So far, so good? Yeah?
Good on yours, but I understand what you're doing, but when I tried to do it, it didn't work as usual. So I don't
Okay, let's take a
maybe
look.
have some fonts that aren't connected.
Let's not worry about like the fonts or the images.
Right.
Let's worry about the pages themselves. So I'm going to go back to export. Okay. And then did either one of them work, Janelle? Okay. So there's a couple things to troubleshoot first. The first thing I want to ask, how many pages did you create?
I only labeled 7, but there's a
That's
whole
okay.
bunch in here.
Okay, so 7 pages. Are you sure that they are in your pages and not your master?
Yes, they're not in pages.
Okay, good. So as long as they're in pages, let's do this again. So go up to File, and you can come down to Export or Control E. Either one works. Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
And now it's asking you where you want to save it. So this is the part that I just threw mine on the desktop in a portfolio folder. And I'm going to call this one Test 2. Where are you going to put yours?
I'll leave it just on the desktop.
Okay. And you and I are going to go back and do the spreads first. We'll start with the first one.
Hit save once you decide.
Yep. And then once you hit save, this menu should come back up. And let's go back and select spreads. Okay. And let's also, do you see where it says general? It should be highlighted. Go to the menu below, and will you just verify for me that both image qualities are set to maximum? Okay. If that looks good, click on export and tell me if there's any errors or warnings.
Errors, overset text on these pages.
Okay, and then just go ahead and click OK to kind of skip past that.
Missing fonts.
That's okay too. So what that means, when it says overset text or overset images, remember that in InDesign, we can set these margins that you guys see right here. Those margins don't matter Like I can take stuff and put them over the margin and over the page. The only time it's going to warn me about that is when I export. So now take a look. When I go to export this, uh-oh, I skipped past it once, so now it's not going to tell me again. So Janelle, that's a warning that I turned off just because I'm almost always outside of the margin, but that's really what it's telling you.
Right.
Okay.
And then it goes to say, this document contains links that are missing.
Mm-hmm. Still okay, yep. So that just means that the images that you have might still be on your Creative Cloud or they're not on your desktop anymore.
Okay,
Just,
once I hit OK, it just kind of came back to my
yep. So that means that it's saved somewhere on your desktop, I think, right?
Okay.
So now go to your desktop, and a shortcut to get to your desktop is, I think you can hit, let me practice it. You know your Windows button? Click your Windows button and D at the same time. So Windows D takes you to your desktop.
Can I do that on Apple?
Yes, but I can't remember what it is. Oh my gosh, it's like it's like muscle memory. If I come look at your, it's Command, I want to say it's Command Tab or Command Tilde takes you there.
Try Command Tab. What was the other one?
Tilde, the little squiggle next to the one. That didn't do it? I'm gonna have to come play with on your keyboard. If I have your keyboard, I'll remember.
Okay, so thank you.
That one worked? Okay, good. And so now, Janelle, since you know how, I don't know why it stopped recording. So the second one would be the pages. All right? So far, just taking it from the top, I did pages that I would send to a printer to share. And then I also did the PDF spread, and that would be if I wanted to share this document digitally. Okay? The next thing that I'm going to do are JPEGs.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So because I know there's some friends in this class that are doing the magazines, right?
Yeah, blurb.
So in that case, would you send a PDF spread or would you still do the page?
So with a blurb, it will do a PDF for you. It will do a PDF or JPEG, or you can actually do it straight from InDesign. So blurb, there's lots of, so I couldn't install it here because I'm not an administrator, but on your own computers at home, you can actually install a blurb plugin in InDesign, and you can actually export your document to blurb. That's how I typically do it. I could never get, Jameson's here today, so if I can get him to run over and just get the plugin installed, we should be okay. And I can show you how that works. Did you guys hear Darlene's question? She was wondering how you export to blurb, and it's basically any way you want, including a plugin that's built into InDesign. Okay? All right, so a couple more things I'm going to show you guys. I'm also going to export to a JPEG next, and then after that, I'm going to show you guys examples of how to upload these different documents to the web. I sound old again. Do you guys call it the web anymore? What are we calling it these days? The internets? Okay. So last export. So this next one is going to get, I think, a little bit messy because see how in Portfolio I have these 3 documents that I exported? When I go to export a JPEG, all of those JPEGs are separate files, right? So if I have a 9-page document, how many JPEGs is that going to give me? 9. So what I like to do first, so I'm going to make a new folder and I'm going to call it Portfolio JPEGs. So they all go in there. What was that? I've only done that because my portfolios get so big.
So you just call it JPEG and put it with the rest of your folders, right?
Yep. Uh-huh. And here's the thing. With the JPEG, it will name it sequentially. And so if I do portfolio, it'll name it portfolio and then portfolio 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to start with 1, you can call it portfolio 1, and then the next one will be 2, 3, 4, 5. I think. Either it'll be a sequence. I just can't remember if it always starts with 1 or if it just takes the file name first. Okay. the other thing I changed was down here, save as file type. I just pulled down, and instead of the PDF that I typically do, I changed it to JPEG. So don't forget that part. And then when I hit save, this should look somewhat familiar to you guys. Okay, it's not the same settings as a PDF, but now you can pick the range that you want to export. And will you guys see if you can find something under my images that might be a concern?
The quality is medium.
Yeah, so this one I haven't updated. I always want this to be maximum. And we haven't talked about this for a while, but do you guys think, just intuitively, that 72 pixels per inch is sufficient for a print? No.
That's better for like web.
Yeah, so if it were on a screen, yes, but I want to print these, so I'm going to take this up to 300. So they're going to be big files, but it's better than having something that's pixelated. So again, the two things that I changed here, which were essentially already changed in my PDF, I made sure my image quality was maximum and my resolution at 300 pixels per inch. And I'm also going to change my color space. This won't be that big of a deal, but just remember RGB is for the web, and then CMYK is for printing. And so these JPEGs I'm exporting specifically for printing. And since I know that, I'm going to change it.
So would it be a huge difference if you printed?
There's only been once that I've seen a big difference, and it was in my oranges and greens. But most of the time, I don't see a big difference. But there has been one time in all the time that I've been printing that I noticed a big difference.
I never realized that step.
Yeah. Okay. Did everybody get these notes right here? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on export. So it seems like not a lot happens, but if I go back to my folder, you will see now I have all of these images here. So here's what's funny, because I started it with a 1, it added the number after the 1. So see how it's 12, 13, 14, 15? So I shouldn't have added the 1. Remember that whole it does a sequence? I just can't remember how it does it. There we go. That's how it does it.
You just went and filtered my JPEG folders here. And then
Oh shoot, so you made the folder but didn't put it in the folder? That happens. Another thing I wanted to point out while I'm in here, right now these are exporting really quickly. Depending on the document you're working on, it could take a lot longer to export. I'm going to pull up a PDF that I saved over the weekend here in just a bit, and that one took like 7 minutes to export. I don't know what was going on with Creative Cloud or my computer, but it took a long time to export. Okay, time for me to take a little pause before I jump into the next part. When would I use, sorry.
I'm sorry, did I miss, did you talk about under the JPEG export thing, pages and spreads?
They don't have pages and spreads. Have you ever seen a JPEG that's more than one image combined?
Do you see where it gives you the option? That's the only difference.
So with this one, it essentially takes one JPEG. I'm voguing at you. It takes, and it kind of tiles them. So I wouldn't tile your JPEGs because then it all becomes tiled. And so when you go to these websites, you only have one image where you want them separate.
So always keep it when you're printing on that page.
Yes. Okay, so let me go back here. If I were, let me mix this up a little bit. I'm going on an interview and I need to send my portfolio for Darlene to print at her work for me. She's going to do it as a favor because she has an awesome printer. What type of a file would I send Darlene?
PDF pages.
Yep, PDF pages, okay. If I saw if I got a coupon for a free photo book from Shutterfly, which if you sign up for their emails, they send you all the time, how would I export those? JPEGs, okay? When I'm exporting the JPEGs, is 72 pixels per inch enough? What should you bump them up to?
Is it 300 the minimum, or do you want
150 is great. Like 150 would work, but I sometimes, like if you go too high, it might make your images look crazy. Between 150 and 300 is a good place to be.
So on that drop-down menu, I noticed that there was like 1200 and 2400. Why would you go that high?
I don't have a camera that could even do that. So if you have a camera that can do that, then you can. I think places like the Utah Jazz, have you seen their giant banners of their players? That's when you'd get into that large print work, even like billboards. But even those, we're just barely getting into the technology where you can have that many pixels per inch. But for us, a good threshold is the 150 to 300, okay? If I know that I'm printing it, should it be RGB or CMYK? Okay, and these are so random. As interior designers, you probably don't need to know this, but RGB stands for red, green, and blue. So every monitor, those are the 3 colors they use to essentially make all the colors. And then CMYK, oh, you probably went through this in Jerry's color class. Okay, there you go. So it's cyan, magenta, okay, wait, cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is black. So those are the 4 printers that most inks use, or the ink colors that we use. Okay, so that colors that spectrum. So now that we know how to export, I want to show you guys a couple. I'm not going to show you guys how to attach it to an email. You guys all know how to share email that way. But what I want to do next is hop into an app like Shutterfly, even like a Costco photo book, and really show you guys how to grab and drag this stuff in. And if you have a JPEG, you could even use that JPEG to post it on Instagram or Facebook. Let's say you're really excited about a particular spread of something and you want to save it. You can use that JPEG as well. So what I'd like you guys to do now, if you want to follow along, I'm going to go to Shutterfly because I have an account there, so it probably won't yell at me. But I'm going to log into my Shutterfly account and show you what you would go through to create a photo book. Now with Shutterfly or any other program, these guys can change and probably will change, like their interface. I think before Shutterfly came around, I was part of like Kodak photos. It was so long ago, it was probably like 20 years ago. So I had all of my Kodak photos uploaded here, and I'd make little photo books, and then Shutterfly bought them, and now I pretty much just use it to make coupons. Whenever they send me free stuff, I make stuff. But I would like to show you guys how to make a photo book, and really what I have found is if you know how to make a photo book on one website, you'll pretty much know how to do them all. Okay. So under photo books, I want to go, let me go to the 11 by 14. So up here on the left, you see where it says photo books. I could probably just click on that and scroll down. And I'm going to go the custom path. And I'm pretty sure it's similar if I come here to the 11 by 14 photo book. Yeah. Do you see how it wants you to use one of their templates? So what we need to do is essentially grab any of these templates. It really doesn't matter. Like even if you grab wedding, cheesy, I typically like to start with something really simple. And do you see with all of these, it gives you text boxes as well as image frames where it wants you to put in your photos? Now, that's going to be really hard to create a portfolio when all of these are already set out for you. So really what I'm trying to show you, so there's all of these things here. So standard pages, lay flat, pick all of these things, whatever you want to do. Under backgrounds, I'm just going to do, is there just white? Okay, fine. We'll just select this style. Now it's asking me to add photos. Do you guys know where I would find the photos? Do you remember where I put them?
In your portfolio.
Yeah, so I have those JPEGs, right? So I'm going to go find those JPEGs on my computer. Okay, so I just asked it to grab the folder, and it sees that there's 9 files, and I want all of those. So see how they're all coming up here now? Right, so there's the images, and then I click on Add. So it's asking me if they can go ahead and place it. I'm going to say no thanks, I want to place them myself. Well, let's see, even if I do this, let me show you what happens. Let me go, these are photos, oops, pages. Oh wait, why did it get mad at me? Sorry. Did anybody catch the error before I hopped out of there? No.
I think it said your photos cannot be placed.
I wonder why. I didn't see why. I saw that part, but then I clicked out of there too quickly. I'm going to try it one more time.
Weren't they, didn't you set them up on the 11 by 17?
It will crop them. So I'm going to pretend that I did this correctly. Like they are 11 by 14, so they will be cropped, but it should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Photos tab, so I'm not going to just fill the pages this time. I don't know why they're not uploading. Okay, let me do this. This is really what I wanted to show you guys. We can pretend that my photos are in here, but do you see how on page 1 it has text and then an image right here? I already have my own text and I already have my own images. So what I'm looking for on this left side, do you see how there's all these layouts? I really just want this full page image right here. Do you see how there's, I can't really see the difference between these two, but they're a full page image. And now if I go to page 2 and even page 3, Shutterfly will let me come through and change it so it's a full page image on either side. Does that make sense? And let me come here to, let me go to all of my photos. This is really embarrassing. This is great. Let's see if this will work. So pretend this is a portfolio picture. I can just drag it in here. Oh, and I've never seen this. It goes across both pages. Let me grab a single page. So that's what the difference is. See how this is a single page where this one went across both pages? Wherever it went up here. So,
I wonder if we can do that in InDesign.
yeah, so when you were asking earlier, Tiffany, about doing spreads with JPEGs, I guess you can now. You could do them 2 at a time and then bring the one in. I would mess something up, so I probably wouldn't do it that way. Like I'd need to see them side by side, but it looks like they are kind of moving that way. But really, my main point was that you can come through and override these kind of like cutesy layouts they give you, because most people don't have InDesign to go through and do a portfolio layout like this or even a family album like this. So you can override that and do whatever type of design that you want.
But can you do your design? So let's say you set up your design in InDesign and you want your
Yes, and that's what let me see if I can add those one more time. Sorry, let me go to add photos. Let me just grab like the first, let me just grab like 3 of them. So I'm gonna do, I know,
page is a picture of what you created, I guess.
yeah, so I'm gonna do these 2 pages because they're supposed to be side by side, right?
I get it.
So you're not just dropping photos.
Right, you're dropping the whole.
You're dropping the whole layout, yep. I don't know why it's not letting me upload. I'm sorry. But it does. Is anybody here trying to upload pictures and it's giving you a hard time? Yes, you're having a hard time, Elena? That you don't have internet connection? That's really weird. But I mean, if you look, I do have a lot of photos on here that I have uploaded and printed in the past. So you're probably wondering why I have a whole bunch of individual images. I don't use this to print portfolios, but I make both of my moms a calendar and I just throw those in and I let them do whatever. So that's why there's a whole bunch of individual stuff. But it does take some time for them to pull in. So I know that if you did export your pages and had them to the right size, that they would go in. I just don't know why it's mad at me as far as trying to pull stuff in. The big takeaway here, make every page a giant image so that you're not using their layouts because you're using your own. That's the big takeaway. And this would be the same for any photo book. So Shutterfly, Costco print services would be the same thing. Let me go to, I haven't done a Costco photo book before, but I'm sure if we go to photo books, let me do the 12 by 12 and let's just see what it says. What? Yay, we can do a blank one. And again, I don't even know if I have photos in here, but there are some. Am I that cute? Thanks. Okay, so let's pretend some pages will not contain photos. Oh, that's fine. So this time, again, Costco is like, hey, let me lay this out for you. So see how it took her photo and it's going across 2 pages? When we're working on our portfolio, I want to change my layout. First, select any element. Okay. And then this one, I just want it to be a single page, 1 photo. Does that make sense? And I can come over here, single page, 1 photo. So pretend this isn't my daughter, pretend this is a portfolio page. So you're just trying to override everything it's trying to do. I didn't know this was a thing now. They're all trying to be fancy. So pages 10 and 11 have this 1 picture. Single page, 1 photo. And you can lay out 1 photo several different ways, but I'm really just looking for it to fill the whole page like that. I think once I get, so this is from the previous picture when I had the other image. Let me go back and grab another photo and place it in there. This is really embarrassing, guys. Let me throw that in here. So on this one, it does look like it has the background from the old one. Let me...
You could just clear the background if you went to background.
I hope so. None?
Or, no, they make you have some.
There should be a way, because right now, let me go here. Yeah, it looks like it's just saved from the last one. So if I delete this, I delete. So over here on page 10 in the preview, it's saying that there's nothing there. Yeah, it's stuck on.
It's like the cover.
Oh,
That's
it's.
what I'm thinking.
Oh.
The back, right?
But you see
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, that's totally the side of my son's hat. Thanks, ladies. That would have driven me crazy. That is totally the side of his jazz hat. So yes, it is showing the front cover, which is kind of nice because I guess that's what it would look like if you went to the side. So, and again, I've never used this before, but it only took a few minutes to kind of go through and manipulate it. Elena? You do. If you don't have a membership, you can still use it. They just charge you an extra 10%. So if you go to the front desk and say, I'm not a member, but I want to use your services, they'll print you like a a card that says you're not a member, and they'll just charge you. I think it's 5 or 10% extra. I can't remember what it is. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, yeah, either one. It's subjective. Okay. So photo books, you guys, in the future, if you want to use them, do you feel okay? Okay.
And so if we're doing anything digitally, we're
Mhm.
gonna use our GP.
Yes.
And if we're gonna print like any book or anything like that, we're gonna make sure we do that CMYK.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And then last but not least, hop into issue for me, and I'll have you guys just sign up for this so you guys have it now. I wanted to introduce you to this. Let me see if it'll find me. This is so bad that I can't. Oh, it says welcome back.
I saw this and I loved it, and I thought it said you had to have some kind of like, pay every month.
No, I definitely did the free version. I am not paying for it. I just have to remember if I used Gmail or maybe I used Facebook. I don't know. What was that?
Oh, what are we doing?
Logging into issue or creating an issue account.
It does want my credit card information.
It does? Okay, give me.
I have free 14 days, but it wants the credit card information still to sign up.
Let,
Where did you guys
Is it
do
on
that?
the bottom of the page?
It says start reading, it's free. I think
Let
it's
me
free, but
go.
it still wants it. Maybe I didn't do it.
We're not gonna see a choice.
so see how here it's basic entry-level digital publishing, no credit card required. So this is my, this is the plan that I have.
Did you log in to get that?
I did, but see if you guys can do this. I know this is kind of weird, but in Google, type up issue basic plan. I'm going to try to do it the way you guys do. Yeah, I can still.
How about for students?
I don't think they have one, do they?
I want something, but it's $20 a month.
That seems so weird. So I went to add content, select your file to upload. I can grab, let me show you guys another document.
Naima, real quick before you continue,
Yeah.
I've not seen the publish button on.
So under mine, let me go back. It's actually under, let me come back here. So I'm back at the home page, so I just clicked on issue. Are you here with me?
Well, I went through the whole, where I downloaded the
Mm-hmm.
file and then picked, gave it a name, clicked other. Went through this whole process, but I don't see where.
But yours isn't publishing? So are you saying that you're at the last step, but you can't actually publish it? Let me go back to mine. Let me see if I can get back there with you. Now that this one's published, actually, Darlene, let me just start it over again because I don't, let me follow through with you. So let me just grab.
Yeah, how did you just get to where you had the bar on the left to choose from and stuff?
So, okay, let me go back to the very beginning. I am just on the issue homepage right now. So I logged in and I clicked, see this issue button? I click issue.
Mine says issue creator hub. I don't know how I got here, but this is what happened when I signed on.
So my web address that it takes me to is issue.com/home/publisher. That's where I go by default. Where do you go, Janelle?
Mine just said issue.com.
We gotta go to publish from this. This is the page they keep taking off.
Oh, okay, got it. Published. Perfect, thank you.
Mine looks different than yours.
Publish, then it looks like yours.
Yes, perfect, thank you.
Oh, so okay, now I'm backing up. So I had to hit publish to get here. But I guess
Yeah, that's all I needed to get where
okay,
you were.
the publish button in the upper right. Okay. Mine defaults here, surprisingly. This is just where I come into when I log in.
Maybe I will now that I got here.
Okay. And then Darlene, where you were adding a document, but you couldn't publish it, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm going to go slow and just tell me where I maybe lose you or maybe I see more things. But I uploaded my file. Okay, so it's validating everything. Do you get title and description here?
Yep, I filled all that out.
Okay. I'm going to put other. You still see type, right? Okay, I'm not going to backdate mine. I'm not, anything with a star, you have to upgrade. So I'm ignoring everything with a star. I'm keeping it public, right? And I think the only other thing, in my upper right, I have a Publish Now button. Do you have a Publish Now in the upper right?
We have to verify. Do you see that blue thing across the top of your screen?
Oh, I see.
We have to, it says, in order for us to publish, we have to go into our email, verify.
Oh, because it's a new account.
Right.
Okay, got it. Sorry, guys. I think since I've had my account for a while, there's just a couple steps that I don't see that you guys are seeing today. I'm going to go ahead and pause again. I'll keep recording this part. I think once you guys are verified, then do you see how on the same, like once it's published, on the left side, I can share links, all these different things? That's where you can go get all of your information.
So we've got this in here, but we obviously don't really want this, or I don't want this one that I put in.
No one's going to see it unless you send it to someone, right? So I'm going to go right back and probably delete all of this stuff, but really no one's going to see it just yet. Unless you formally share it with somebody. What was that?
So you can also do it mobile on your phone?
Yeah, so when I'm on my phone, I can send that link to people as well, and I can kind of see what it looks like too. Now, one thing that I did is I had a link to actually embed it on my website. And that's a little bit above and beyond. But for those of you who might have a website, Kylie, do you have a website? What was that? Okay, yeah, you can use that. You can use these links to put it in your Weebly too.
So you would just do the same way you would share the link, but
Uh-huh.
you take that link, copy it, and paste it into
Yep,
the
and it just pulls up like an issue thing. Allison, I missed what the giggling was about. What did I miss? There you go. Our favorite thing, the portfolio. Just kidding.
We were saying that we never.
To use InDesign, not Photoshop, because Photoshop, although it does images really well, it doesn't handle text well. And so your text always ends up looking somewhat pixelated when you use Photoshop. So you can do all of your graphics in Photoshop and like clean them up as you have been, but remember that your final board layout should be in InDesign. So when you're in InDesign, this hopefully should be familiar, but you're going to do a new document again. And now we're just going to come here to the presets, and I might be able to even call this board. And it's up to you how you want to format it. You could do it 36 by 24 and have it landscape. Say that again?
We want to use it under this print tab, or?
You know, I'm not even there yet. So right now, I'm just going through these presets. Right now, I'm just under my recent 8.5 by 11, and I'm editing that. So I think this one would work. I don't think under the print, you'd have anything that big. But if you started in print, you could grab your 11 by 17 and see how you can just change this here. That's really all I'm changing.
Well, does it make a difference? I mean, where you begin it?
The only difference that it would make, I know what you're trying to say. So right now, if I go to the print tab, it fundamentally wouldn't change anything except for when I go to export it, the default might already be to like a PDF that's set to high resolution. Whereas if I went to the web, it has everything set to pixels and not inches. Got it? But you, at any point, you could come through, even if I grab this, I can come and change these here. So these are just some presets for you, but even with the presets, you can come right in and edit.
So it doesn't matter which one you choose, you just have to edit it.
Yeah, because this one's going to be totally custom. There's not a 24 by 36 for us. So again, I started in my recents and it was on the custom 8.5 by 11. But if I go to print, I can grab any of these. But again, I named it board and I'll do 36 by 24. And you can decide, and you see how it's flipping the numbers for me? You can decide if you want to do it landscape or horizontal. But go ahead and turn off facing pages and click on create. And there's your board. So it's a really big size that you are working with. And you're more than welcome to do test prints here. So you can see how big the images actually look, how big your fonts actually are. And when you're in this lab, you can actually print to the, it's called the plot wave. So some of you guys may have done this when you printed for, oh gosh, what is it called? Revit, CAD. And right now it doesn't look like we have the 36 by 20. Oh yeah, we do. We have the 24 by 36 inch roll in there. I'm not actually going to print it, but you can print it here and at least see a black and white proof of it. Don't print it out in color here. It takes forever. We do have the color printer, but by the time you guys print, buy the board and mount it, you don't want to deal with that at the end of a project. And so that's why we enlisted the help of printing services for us to do that final board print. It's much easier for them to take care of that for us. So again, that's there for you if you want a preview. And I think this goes without saying, but I'll just put it out there that when all of that stuff is together, they should graphically look similar to one another. Similar fonts, similar colors. If there's different graphics that you're using, I'd love to see those graphics on there. Again, it should just be this cohesive branding that you've come up with for your final portfolio. Okay. And then from here, just like we did a few minutes ago, once you get this all laid out, when you go to export it, and you might want to call printing services first to see if they prefer a PDF or a JPEG. I don't think they do, but you can select JPEG, and then again, we've got the 300 CMYK. It might be a slightly bigger file because the reason why your JPEG file gets so big is because it takes all of your text and turns it into a graphic too. Where a PDF keeps the text and the images separately. So text is always going to be a smaller file. Like if you compare a Microsoft Word file to like a Photoshop file. That's why PDFs stay a little bit smaller and JPEGs get so big because it takes everything and just turns it into a big image. So let me come back. Either one. Yep, either one will work. And I would say if you want, call printing services or whoever you're working with and see if they have a preference. But I don't think they would. I think they would take either one.
They were mentioning to me, and I'm not going to say this right, some, I was vector format?
So vector format would be as if we sent them an InDesign, not InDesign, what's the other one? An Illustrator file.
Oh.
So we're not sending them vectors. So even AutoCAD is considered a vector. You're going to send them the PDF. Yep. So you're going to do all the stuff for them. Okay. So let me go back to kind of our branding package because there's a slight update to this. So we've all done our logo, we've started our resume and business cards. The two things that we haven't really tackled yet, I have asked you guys to do an announcement so that essentially if you guys are inviting friends and family and we're announcing it to other people, you guys are creating an announcement for the show. And now that we know it is on August 2nd, Friday, August 2nd, from 5 to 7, you know, we have a time, we have a place. I can send you all of that information. I'd like you guys to create something for that, for the open house. And then, oh, I have a misspelling right here. But this fifth item, the takeaway, I'm going to go ahead and just take that off as a requirement, but it's just something that I suggest that you do if you have the time and maybe even the budget, if that's something that you want to do as part of your final presentation. Okay. All right, so let me ask you guys again. Do you have to do a takeaway? No. Do you have to do a board? Yes, sorry. Again, it just makes things look nice that night. Okay. To I think just about everybody except for Kylie, and I think Kylie already left. I know Kylie had it last semester. I'm going to record this part because I think it'll be new for everybody. So let me do this. On my master page, this is going to be really simple. I'm going to put Naima Nawabi in both corners. I'm going to keep it like this for now. Let's see how much of it actually works because like I said, it's changed slightly. And let's say that I want to center an image on every page. And more than likely, you guys aren't going to have the image here to begin with, right? It's going to be something like this. And again, this is done in the master spread layout. Now I'm going to come down here. Nope. Let me delete those. Now I'm back in my page layouts and see how it added these two master pages for me. Now right now they're locked because it wants everything to stay in place. But if I do, this is so embarrassing, it's either an Alt click or a Shift click. It's one of them. You should be able to unlock it. What was that? It's not, of course it's not Command Shift. So let me do this one more time. Right now on my screen, can you tell that it's kind of graphically locked? It almost looks like it's dashed in instead of solid like it typically looks. Do you guys see that? So to unlock it, you have to hit Control and Shift at the same time and then click. And do you see that now it's unlocked? Okay. So in the past, if you unlocked something, it would totally break from this master up here. So here's what I mean. Let's see how it behaves. I'm going to put this now as, Title 1. And how do I unlock this? Control Shift. Yep. Control Shift and then click. I'm going to put this as Title 2. The other thing that I'm going to do is here, I'm just going to add an image. Go to my desktop. I don't even know what this Photoshop. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I have these two things now that I have unlocked. If I go back up to my master page up here, here is the new thing that it's doing. I'm going to grab this and move it down here. And then I'm going to grab this and left justify it. Some of these things work and some of these things don't. Okay, so see here that it moved the container for me, but it didn't change the justification here. So it changes some things, but not all. It's getting better, but it's not totally there. But if I add new pages, so I'm going to come back here, let me add 2 new pages. Do you see how this one took all of the new things that I put in? So it's down here at the bottom left and it's right justified over here. Okay. The other thing that it also does now that it didn't do before, if I grab this and move it, do you see how it moves it here too? So if you've taken this class more than a year ago, I think, this is totally new. Once you unlocked it, it would never move with the master after you moved it. Now, all of the images stay locked together in position, and the text is starting to lock in position and format. So that's the other thing. So let me come up here. If I want to change the font, I don't think it changes the font. So some of these things are still pretty new to me. Let me see what that did. Okay, see how since I unlocked it, basically the only thing it changed was the position of the text frame, but not any of the text formatting. The other things that hadn't been unlocked, those got updated. But the things that were unlocked, the only thing it updated was the position. So guys, it's getting better, it's getting closer to what we want it to do, but not yet. So Janelle, to answer your first question, to unlock any of the master items, it's Control-Shift-Click.
But so you always just have to unlock them to use them? I thought the whole idea was that you could make something and then it would be easy to just add stuff to it.
So in a way, the Control-Shift-Click is easy because depending on your portfolio, let's say on those 2 pages, there's 10 items total. There might be only 4 things that you're constantly editing. And then the other things you're just kind of assured that they don't move. So if it becomes like a pain for you to unlock every one of these image frames, maybe you copy and paste your image frames or you create a new image frame.
Well, that was my next question. So I kind of so I did one for A master and then I somehow was able to create a B master from that, and I just wanted to adjust a couple things. And then somehow in the C master it wouldn't let me adjust anything.
So if you, this is what's a little bit tricky. If you take A master and you duplicate it, like you duplicate other pages, B master and A master might be linked together if I'm remembering this right. Let me test it real quick. So if I come back, I don't think it is because see how right now it doesn't say A master right here. So if I move this here, okay, good. They're independent of one another.
So that's the way to do it with the page.
Let me,
there is stuck for some reason. I'll just erase it and then I'll just do it that way.
there is another way. I've done it on accident before. Let me see. Oh my gosh, I can't remember how to do it now. I'll try it a couple times. That's going to be independent. I actually did it on accident the other day where the duplicate that I had made was still actually attached to another one.
Yeah, that's sort of happened to me too. So, and sometimes if you just want to work on pages on their own without having to use that, you can just go down into pages and do whatever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, and even, like I said, when you guys are doing like the first few pages, you might still be doing a lot of heavy editing. And that's where you'll really see, okay, this is the thing that should be absolutely locked, but maybe this is the thing that we're a little bit more flexible on from page to page.
If you have one you liked that you did create down there and you tweaked it, could you make it a master?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let me go back up to B master and just delete everything here. Let's pretend it was blank. So let's say that down here in my pages, let me go to this page right here. cheat just a little bit. Okay, let's say I love this layout. I can just, I'm doing a Control A to select everything, or you can just highlight and drag everything. And I'm just going to basically copy and paste it. And now it's a master.
Oh, so you just copied it and then pasted it up to the new master page?
Yep, and so now if I wanted to, let me go back down here and add some pages. By default, it's always going to do a master, but if you want to do B, you can always come. I may have to do each one of them. This is one thing that you guys have to figure out and show me. They've changed how to apply the masters. So now to select both, I have to click the name. I'll just show you guys. And then to put it on both pages, you have to be in the lower left-hand corner. Do you see how other than that it goes on individual pages and not both? Super subtle. But then you can drop it onto other pages. And just like before, Control-Shift-Click lets me unlock.
And that's probably Command-Shift on the back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I gotta go pick up mine. Hey, so thank you for answering that question.
Of course. And then just like before, if you move the containers, it'll move the containers, but it won't change the text formatting. So this is what B looks like now. So if I come down here, that's what B looks like.
Well, let's say you're in a master and you're working,
Uh-huh.
but you kind of made some changes outside of that. Can you just do that Command-Shift, make those changes, and then keep going? You know what I mean? You've kind of gone outside the master.
No, you'd have to make a copy of it.
Oh.
Yep, you'd have to make that a separate, unique one.
Oh.
Yep, that would be a separate, unique one. All right.